Welcome back. Joining me now to continue the discussion on the violence in Benue State is a former member now of the Federal House of Representatives who represented Gwe East and Gwe West Federal Constituency in the 9th National Assembly, Honorable Mark Gbila. Honorable Gbila, thank you very much for coming on the program. First off, give me your thoughts on this, especially the recent attack now, or attacks, if you like, on some communities in your state.
Okay, thank you very much, DEJI, for having me on your show. I will again start by expressing my condolences with my people of Gwe West local government area, with the people of Yelawata in Guma local government area, in Ukum, Logo, Apa, Agatu, several communities across Benue that have been affected. May their souls rest in peace, and of course our neighbors even in Plateau State. And I would want to express my sincere condolences too with the members of the armed forces who lost their lives and the officer of the civil defense. We thank them for their service and we appreciate the sacrifice that they're making for our people. And finally, I'd want to appreciate and thank the Catholic Pontiff, His Eminence Pope Leo XIV, who spoke up and brought this issue to the limelight even before our own president and governor responded to the matter. That speaks volumes for those of us whose people are being killed. Now, it is shocking to note that while these heinous acts, while this massacre has been going on, we have not been able to get any succor from the federal or state government to stem this tide and wanton killing of our people. It is said in different parlance that when you beat up a child, you can't stop the child from crying. I made this analogy previously. When the people of Benue came out to cry and protest after the killing of 200 plus people in Yelwata, that is when the police started their show of force. That is when we started to see helicopters hovering over protesters. That is when tear gas started being used against our people. We did not see this kind of force against the people who operated without any sort of hindrance. It is a concern to some of us, the comments that were made by Mr. President. And it's important to put the record straight because it is very obvious the President is being misled, is being misinformed. Mr. President indicted himself and his government when he said that he has given directives for there to be a follow-up to his earlier directive. That means the earlier directive was not followed, which is very instructive to note. And he said in the wake of reprisal attacks, let me make it very categorically clear. The people of Benue did not attack anybody. They are the ones who are being attacked. And I will use this opportunity to let the Vatican, the US government, the UK, the EU, the international community, and Mr. President himself know that Benue is under siege. There's a genocide against the people of Benue. There's a pogrom targeted at the people of Benue.
What do you think? What do you think is actually responsible for these attacks? Those who are carrying out the attacks, what exactly do you think they want?
Okay, it is about acquiring our land. This is the target. It's an incursion to take over our land and drive us out of our land. And for students of history, they'll remember that the Benue Valley is where the jihadist incursion to Nigeria was stopped. The Benue Valley is where even the civil war was stopped. And I like to tell people that they shouldn't forget that we are still those warriors that they know. We have just been trying to obey the rule of law. We can still make this country ungovernable, but we have been advising our people to toe the path of peace and the rule of law, but there's a limit to which we can take this. and it is time that we rise up and start to defend ourselves.
Yeah, and that takes me to my next question now about self-defense. I mean, you must have heard what the Chief of Defense Staff said, talking about vigilantes, talking about self-defense. It's actually not the first time. I mean, there was a time even the head of the DSS said something along that line. And it's quite a surprise that, you know, your state has borne the brunt of these attacks for several years now. And up till this moment, you people never thought about this self-defense, putting up some kind of self-defense mechanism, you know, vigilantes to protect your communities.
Now, it is a catch-22 situation for our very innocent, helpless people. And that is the fact that in abject poverty, with the kind of penury that they are experiencing under this administration and even in time past, where the dividend of democracy hasn't been reaching out to them, self-defense is not something you do without the necessary resources. And that is where we have expected that the government of the state will drive this process because of the interest they should have in the safety and the welfare of their people. So this is one of the fundamental challenges that our people have faced, the ability to fend for themselves and provide the required equipment to protect themselves, because our criminal code and our penal code provide for self-defense, for proportionate force. Proportionate, in my own opinion, means if you attack me with an AK-47, I can attack you with an AK-47. So it is important that we take cognizance of the very, very honest statement by the DEJI DSS, and I commend the Chief of Defense Staff. It is long overdue for them to start to identify the fact that within the military itself, there are collaborations, there is treachery going on. Our people have been crying about this for long. There are people of a particular ethnic coloration with the people attacking us who they seem to send to Benue to quell this crisis. Of course, you will be sure there will be a conflict of interest. These are things that Mr. President needs to address. So the issue of self-defense is something that even has to be a sort of constitutional inclusion in the amendments that are going on.
Thank you very much for coming on the show and sharing your thoughts with us on this very sad development.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. I will take a short break and we'll be right back. Stay with us, don't go away. Opinions are free, facts are sacred, but truth is universal. How, in practical terms, can we, for instance, de-escalate the tension?
President must see himself as the President of the Federal Republic.
We know where the enemy is. 3 places. The Lake Chad Basin, the border area between Nigeria and Cameroon, and then the Sambisa Forest.
On DEJI 360, we give you a complete dose of everything. Opinion, facts, and undiluted truth.
I hardly believe what politicians say in this part of the world.
A new Nigeria is possible, a future is possible.
We delve into the issues, dissect it so that you can understand it, and use it to take action.
I don't think there's any need for any governor to look for grant for ranching.
DEJI 360, dissecting the issues.